save, every moment.
Game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind.
Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics,
Letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail.
whether it's a championship win or a legendary play.
NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate.
Call 586-304-4405
And start watching today. Boost your brand with NSN's live soccer broadcast, reaching a passionate audience in real time.
Engage fans during thrilling soccer matches. Maximize visibility with tailored ad packages.
Add 30-second or 60-second commercials for concise, impactful messaging and greater audience connection. Call 586-304-4405 and start your campaign today. Are you ready to create unforgettable moments for your audience? NSN offers professional live streaming and full broadcast services tailored to your needs.
From high-quality production to exceptional coverage,
We ensure your game or event becomes a spectacle to remember. Book your next game with us today
call 586-304-4405 to schedule your broadcast.
and let NSN bring the action to life like never before.
Soccer fans, the National Soccer Network is now streaming live on Roku. All for packages starting at just $2.99. Don't miss a moment of the action. National Soccer Network on Roku. Every goal, every save, every moment.
Game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind.
Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics,
Letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail.
whether it's a championship win or a legendary play.
NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate.
Call 586-304-4405
And start watching today. Boost your brand with NSN's live soccer broadcast, reaching a passionate audience in real time.
Engage fans during thrilling soccer matches. Maximize visibility with tailored ad packages.
Add 30-second or 60-second commercials for concise, impactful messaging and greater audience connection. Call 586-304-4405 and start your campaign today. Are you ready to create unforgettable moments for your audience? NSN offers professional live streaming and full broadcast services tailored to your needs.
From high-quality production to exceptional coverage,
We ensure your game or event becomes a spectacle to remember. Book your next game with us today
call 586-304-4405 to schedule your broadcast.
and let NSN bring the action to life like never before.
Soccer fans, the National Soccer Network is now streaming live on Roku. All for packages starting at just $2.99. Don't miss it.
Welcome into the National Soccer Network, as tonight we bring you a matchup that isn't on a schedule. It's not a part of a league. Rather, it's an international friendly featuring two of the finest clubs from their respective countries. It's the Flint City Bucks, USL 2, a part of the USL2 League here in the United States, and Atlas U23 FC, a club that began in 1919 in Guadalajara, Mexico, facing off in an international friendly. The first time Flint City has done this since 2022. It's the World's Game here on NSN. Nate Wangler alongside Dan Stickrat. And Dan, as we get ready for this matchup, as mentioned, again, this isn't part of a set league. This isn't part of this isn't on the schedule anywhere. We knew we were going to have this game, but rather this is just showcasing a couple of the clubs, again, from their respective countries. Both of them have made noise. Both of them have won championships. Both of them have been around for a long time. It's just an interesting opportunity to showcase talents from two different soccer cultures.
Two different soccer cultures indeed. And you look at the culture the Flint City Bucks have built. They've had different names, different locations, but the same theme. They put together rosters to contend for championships. They've had a little break in their USL League 2 schedule. This is their second friendly in about a 5-day period. They beat Inter Detroit 6-0 over at Grand Blanc High School this past Saturday night. Now they're getting ready to engage in what seems to be a much tougher opponent this time around. It will be a great test for Flint City Bucks. They're back in the top 25 of the USL League 2. Earlier this summer, they had a rare instance where they actually lost 2 games in 4 days. That just doesn't happen with the Flint City Bucks very often. They've regrouped. They have not lost since, and they're playing much better soccer here as we get ready for that stretch run in the USL League 2.
Getting an opportunity for some of their other players to get involved in the mix. There, as you see on the bottom of your screen, that's the mariachi band here tonight. They broke out all the stops for this matchup between these two. They had a really interesting segment in the local news in Flint earlier this week. Javier Moran, Alonzo Ripoll, who's a striker for this Atlas team, as well as Costa Papista, all joined the local news, and they talked about this opportunity. Again, their last international matchup in 2022, but it was interesting what Ripoll had to say specifically. He goes, it's a unique test going up against an American side, and obviously the English wasn't quite there, but I was able to take a lot away from it. He talked about the differences between styles of play. These Mexican teams are very forward, they're very fast, they love to attack the goal. On the other side, for the United States, he mentioned how big and how physical they are, and how genetically maybe they're a few steps ahead of them, and they really bring that to the pitch. It's just going to be interesting to see the clash of the different styles of play from the two different neighboring countries.
Yeah, but one thing you can say about the Flint City Bucks
is we'll pass it off very quickly here to the PA announcer for introductions of lineups and our nation's anthems.
Let's meet today's starting lineups. First, for Atlas FC. Para la alineación del día de hoy del Atlas Fútbol Club, como el número 186, Alonso Ripoll. Con el número 196, Miguel Hernández. Con el número 197, Héctor Medina. Con el número 208, Jesús Guillén. Con el número 234, Gerardo Gómez. Con el número 237, Anthony Bautista. Con el número 244, Rodrigo Cárdenas. Con el número 245, Eric Villegas. Con el número 251, Luis Suárez. Con el número 258, Álvaro Veas. Con el número 232, el guardameta Oscar Hidalgo. Y su director técnico, el señor Javier Morán. And now, here is the starting lineup for your Flint City Bucks. From London, England, number 3, Roman Kedgley. From Wednesbury, England, number 5, Ellis Jones. From Kumasi, Ghana, number 6, Paul Yeboah. From Amsterdam, Netherlands, number 11, Bart Munns. From Wellington, New Zealand, number 12, Thomas Rambo. From Medina, Ohio, number 14, Cole Worthmuller. From Hitra, Norway, number 15, Ola Arntzen. From Paris, France, number 19, Emmanuel Dennis. From Toulon, France, number 21, Matteo Brasso. From Covington, Kentucky, number 27, Matt Drees. And starting in goal, from Dublin, the Republic of Ireland, number 30, Jamie Berry. The Bucks are coached by Paul Doro. Your officials for tonight's match: head referee Jafar Rasul, assistant referees Logan Alio and Derek Mrose, and your fourth official Rick Alio. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the singing of the national anthems of the United Mexican States and the United States of America.
Damas y caballeros, por favor pónganse de pie para cantar los himnos nacionales de los Estados Unidos mexicanos y de los Estados Unidos de América.
Singing the Mexican national anthem is Max Quintanilla Jimenez. Max is a sophomore and music major at Northwestern Michigan College in Traverse City. He has been studying voice and trumpet for 9 years and has dual citizenship from Mexico and the United States.
Cantando el himno nacional mexicano es Max Quintanilla Jiménez. Max es un estudiante de segundo año y se especializa en música en el Northwest Michigan College en Traverse City. Lleva 9 años estudiando canto y trompeta y tiene doble nacionalidad de México y los Estados Unidos.
Mexicanos al grito de guerra, el acero presta el bridón y retiemble sus centros la tierra al sonoro rugir del tambor. Y retiemble sus centros la tierra al sonoro rugir del tambor. Patria, tu semenes oliva, de la paz de la calle vivir, en el cielo tu eterno destino, por el dedo de Dios escrito, mas no sabe buscando el enemigo, profanar con su planta tu suelo. Un soldado en cada hijo de Dios, un soldado en cada hijo de Dios, mexicanos al grito de guerra, el acero presta el bridón, y retiemble sus centros la tierra al sonoro rugir del tambor. Y retiemble sus centros la tierra al sonoro rugir del cañón. Singing the national anthem of the United States is Latina Martin of the Flint Institute of Music.
Cantando el himno nacional de los Estados Unidos.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's
and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rattling, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
A great rendition of our nation's anthem from Latina Martin. Also the Mariachi Band getting involved here in pregame as we get ready for this international friendly. Hello, everybody, and welcome back in. Live on WNEM tonight, Nate Wangler alongside Dan Stickrat. And Dan, this is an important matchup in a lot of ways. You know, we could talk about stats and records, and I know some of that sometimes is hard to come by when you talk about these international meetings, and specifically a team that isn't from the United States. But I think the importance of this one here tonight, and even someone like Costa Papista really echoed this in the news, the importance is being able to bring their culture, their club here to the United States, and not only that, but bring them here to just outside of Detroit, Michigan, an area of the country that has produced a lot of great soccer talent. You talk about the Flint City Bucks, over 100 players that have played in Major League Soccer throughout the course of their club's existence. Obviously, on the other side, plenty of players that have played since 1919, over 100 years of history at that club, and obviously the dynamic of the United States and Mexico and soccer. I feel like anytime you have that combination, you're going to have fireworks, and I think that's what this community is looking forward to in this game the most.
Yeah, it will be a contrasting styles to an extent, but it really is a great experience for these young athletes. Look, they're trading off jerseys, they're trading off pennants. But on the field, yes, this is not counted towards a conference standings whatsoever, but it's a great chance to learn from each other, find a worthy opponent.
As they get everything set up to go for this one here tonight. Let's look at our weather for this one, 74 degrees Fahrenheit. Dan, that is a long shot, at least down compared to where we were for the longest time. Temperatures reaching what felt like triple digits the last handful of days, but today we've gotten at least a brief reprieve from all of that.
Yeah, Monday, I believe, around 4 o'clock here in Michigan, it did topple out at 100 degrees across southeastern Michigan and really the lower part of Michigan overall. It was brutal. I had to step outside Monday morning and do a little bit of yard work, and after about 8:30 in the morning, I was done. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing this anymore.
Of course, Atlas FC on the other side goes, this is every day. I don't know what you guys are complaining about. They get ready to take off against this Flint City team, dressed in their red kits here tonight, the red bottoms, the red cleats, red everything. And, of course, Atlas FC on the other side wearing the triple digits here tonight. I'm not going to lie, I think this is the first time I've ever seen this, but they got the white kits with the red on the shoulders and on the sleeves, red and black mixed in there as well. They got a couple Americans, a couple of kids that are from California as well on the team. But I have to say, that's the first time I've ever seen triple digits on a uniform before.
Not just triple digits, but a wide variety of players with triple digits. I've seen a couple times here in the last couple summers with the amateur soccer circuit where you've seen a player, hey, I'm number 102, but to have multitude of players on the bench or on the field with triple digit numbers, that is a unique circumstance.
Kettering University, historic site in Flint, Michigan, and the best of the best from the U.S. and Mexico as we're underway here in the first half. Warm welcome in, Nate Wangler and Dan Stickrat. What is an overcast day here at Kettering University. Out of bounds and a throw-in upcoming here for Atlas. Again, the big conversation coming into this matchup here today, Dan, is how do the different play styles have an effect on this game? It'll be interesting to see because we cover soccer across the country, but not normally do we get teams outside of the country. But although I believe the last time I did a game with you was in the MASL. So that was Chihuahua, and they're outside of the country, but a little bit different than arena soccer.
The one thing you can say about this Flint City Bucks, and especially the last 2 or 3 summers, you mentioned in the pregame about how Mexico has a ton of speed. That is one area where the Bucks will match up with just about anybody. They have a lot of burners on their roster. Players you could see like suiting up with track spike and running the 100 or 200 meter dashes. They have a ton of speed to be able to counter that. I think that's one of the many reasons why they're so effective in what they do. They will outpossess a lot of teams. Yes, they can be physical at times, but they also have the speed to match up with just about anybody.
Taking a look at our starters here tonight for Flint City. Defenders in this one, Roman Kegley, Ellis Jones, Paul Yaboa. Also in that mix. He's getting tied up near side. Emmanuel Dennis trying to fight it back as Flint work it all the way back into goal. Jamie Barry, the one that's manning the pipes here tonight. Out of Ireland, it was Niagara University, but getting the call. Playing goal here tonight for Flint City as they try to work it out from their back line. Forwards.
Jamie Barry did have one start in USL League 2 this season. He played in goal in a 5-0 shutout over Lansing City Football Club here just a couple of weeks ago. Barry, Gerardo Fonte has split a lot of time. This is the 3rd non-conference game this summer for the Flint City Bucks. They defeated Toledo Villa 2-1 in their first game. Both those teams are in the USL League 2, but just different divisions, so that didn't count towards anything. Last Saturday, the Bucks looked very impressive in a 6-0 friendly shutout of Inter Detroit.
Yeah, you talk about the USL 2 team as well, looking for their 3rd straight Great Lakes Division title. Right now in first place, just a step ahead of the Grand Rapids team, Midwest United. But you talked about these extra games oftentimes can be an opportunity to get some of the other players involved, especially when you talk about international friendlies. You mix in a lot of different players as Flint City gets a good turnover in a preferable spot, and then a shove from behind gives them the foul. So they will possess this one. Brossel the one to stand over top of it. We'll see exactly where they give it to him. The rest of your starters in this one, by the way, Bart Munns, Thomas Rainbolt, Cole Worthmuller. So it looks like Ola Arnson will be the one to take this one off the set piece just past 3 minutes. Angles it into the box where it's headed away, but then a corner kick coming up for Flint City, our first of the game here tonight. Emmanuel Dennis out of Paris, France. A lot of international flavor on this Flint City team. I know talking about Mexico v. the United States, but let's not forget that Flint City, they actually have a lot of different influence from different parts of the world, Dennis being one of them out of France, but club that pulls in a lot of talent from all over the place. Just about ready to reach 4 minutes. Our first corner kick of the game here for Flint City. Bent in near post. Not headed out of trouble just yet. Now Atlas, success in getting this one back towards midfield. And those are the areas of the game where Flint City is going to have to win here today. Again, Atlas talked about how physical they can tend to be, and they really lean into that side. As here's another one. Bent in wide of that far post. Bart Munns settling it down before handing it off to Rainbolt, who whips another one in. And a missed opportunity, but still in play. Headed in front again. A mass of bodies as it finally squirts north of the 18. But look at this early pressure from Flint City.
Flint City doing a great job. You've already seen most of their players have touched the ball. They're switching fields. so far. But you look at their roster, Nathan, and this is nothing new. You know, in the USL League 2, you cannot have more than 5 players from one university on your roster. But with the Flint City Bucks, that's never really been a problem. Yes, there has been times over the years where they've had 2 or 3 players coming from maybe Oakland University or Michigan State or Michigan, UD Mercy. But they do an exceptional job, and this is the 30th year of the Bucks. But they've been able to, you know, built a reputation as being one of the USL's top franchises for 3 decades. They have no problem attracting top-tier talent. They'll get players from all over the country. Most of these players are NCAA Division I level players. They've sent a lot of individuals to MLS and USL Championship, MLS 2, long track record. But you look at their roster, not just this year, but over the last decade, and you'll see a wide variety of universities, and some of these players are foreign-born. They're over here competing in college, not necessarily U.S. residents, but Flint City Bucks.
Rainball, a good heel touch, wide of the box. They send it in, and it's saved. Bart Munns on the receiving end just couldn't fit it through. Luis Hernandez, quick enough to go down and get it, and it stays 0-0. Look at this pretty feed, too, just across the way. That was the one earlier that couldn't quite connect. And then that last exchange off the heel touch, a bullet into the box. Fortunately, Hernandez there to stop it for Atlas. Some early pressure on goal here for Flint City.
7th minute, Flint City Bucks have controlled almost the entire game thus far. One shot on goal, and 1 corner kick. But the ball has been on their feet about 80% of this match thus far, and that's kind of the style they've been accustomed to playing over the years. They will outpossess 75-85% of the teams that they play in conference games and non-conference friendlies. Some of the reasons why they've been so successful, you look at as a franchise, they first season was 1996. 4 North American championships, 2 runners-up, several trips to the Central Conference Finals, which is the Elite 8 of the North American tournament. That's how far they got last year. They just have a long history of finishing first or second in the division, reaching the postseason, and making deep, long runs. You look traditionally, the Flint City Bucks, Des Moines Menace, there's a few other teams out that have been around a long time that success breeds success. There's expectation. Players want to play for these types of teams, you know, May through July.
Just shy of 10 minutes here in the first half. Majority of it has been spent in the offensive end for Flint City. Trying to break through here early. 2 legitimate chances on goal already in this one. Good deflection. That time in favor of Atlas will deliver them a throw-in. Again, Javier Moran, their head coach. Don Fragoso, their assistant coach for Atlas. Play their home games at Estadio Jalisco, venue with a capacity of over 56,000 spectators. Opened up back in July, or rather January of 1960. So a big venue down there, and obviously a really passionate fan base. It's a healthy soccer culture in Mexico, and I think oftentimes we forget about that simply because they are our neighbors to the south. But big-time stadium, a lot of significant events, including a couple of different World Cup games, 1970 and 1986 too, as they try to, again, work it out of their defensive end. And you can tell the speed right now for Flint City is just eating them up a little bit, but bending, not breaking earlier in this one as they look for a counterattack. Hernandez in front of goal. Plays it out left as they try to continue to work it out of their back line. But again, Flint City cutting down a lot of these angles. We'll see where they go with on this one. It will be a goal kick.
You can see how quickly the Flint City Bucks, how they close in when the opposition makes a short or even a long pass, how quickly they close in those gaps. They force you to make quick decisions. Sometimes those decisions will result in a turnover, maybe a shot attempt, a steal. You get 1v1 on the goalkeeper. You never know what could happen, but playing that high-pressure style, they will outpossess players. They can be physical when needed.
Hector Medina has it taken away there at midfield. Flint City trying to turn it into something. So they handle this one at the 50. Now out near side for Dennis. We'll sling it the opposite direction, and here come the Bucks yet again. Talking about the championship pedigree of this Flint City team. Again, you could say the same thing on the other side for Atlas and what they've been able to do in their leagues in Mexico. Dennis, a cross in, headed away only momentarily, though still in trouble. They try to find a way to clear, and they finally do. It's the U23 team from this Atlas squad. 3 different Liga MX titles, one in 2021, their most recent coming in 2022. A handful of Copa MX titles, 4 of them once upon a time. That's going back to the 60s, though, so it's a long time ago. But, again, won a championship in 2022, and you know, one of the things we always look forward to are the rivalry games, the heated matchups. And again, when you talk about that venue of over 55,000 people, sometimes they're able to fill it out, and it's because they have been playing so long. As this time they try to give themselves a chance on the counter. Cut shy, but this is the most offensive momentum we've seen from this club here in this first half.
Atlas has definitely picked up the pace here in the last 2 minutes. They're forced back on their heels there in the early going of this match.
Out near side, Hector Medina, starting defenders here for Atlas today. Out of the foot, Eric Villegas. Plays it off towards midfield. Hector Medina. So nearly about 12 minutes in, but Atlas actually shares a fierce rivalry with Club Deportivo Guadalajara, which they're from Guadalajara, known as the Chivas. Derby is considered the oldest football rivalry in Mexico. It dates all the way back to 1916. I'm just fascinated by the deep history of this club. It's one thing that I think is really interesting about them as we take a look at some of our first half stats, that is, already in this one. Couple of shots on goal for Flint. 1 corner kick. No goals to speak of, but Dan, it almost seemed like they cracked the code really early into this game, but credit to Atlas for standing tall on the defensive end, and that was something that, again, Coach Moran talked about coming into this one. They need to be strong defensively to have a chance. Nearly a great cross, and that one picked up by Hernandez as he quickly rolls it back out. So we get ready to cross 13 minutes in this first half.
So far, the Bucks have 2 shot attempts, one which was blocked, the other one was on target. They had that corner kick here about 10 minutes ago. Now in the 14th minute.
This one rainbowed out by Hernandez. Out near the 40. Of course, we're calling them yard lines here in the United States. They don't necessarily have those, I'm sure, on the pitches that they play in Mexico, but as broadcasters, we'll still mention them because they are on the field. But a free kick upcoming here for Atlas FC. Of course, a club that is renowned for its youth academy. It's produced numerous players who have gone on to represent the Mexican national team. Rafael Marquez, Andres Guardado, Jared Borghetti, just to name a few of them that have been to this academy that have gone on to represent the national team. So I'm sure they have just as much of a vested interest in that World Cup coming up in 2026 as we do here in the United States. And obviously some of the games will be played in Mexico. So coming back to Mexico here in 26.
Interesting thing about the World Cup will be going on just about 12 months from now. Majority of the games are in the U.S., but there are several in Mexico and Canada as well. I believe this is a rare instance where 3 nations are sharing as the host of the World Cup. You have the FIFA Club World Cup going on right now. The CONCACAF Gold Cup, U.S. 3-0 in that tournament. They won their Group D, and they will play in the round of 8 later this week.
So Mexico, Canada, and the United States will all be hosting games in that World Cup. Oh, look at this. And it's on sides. Atlas strikes first in the 15th minute off a great through ball. No offsides called. Shock and awe. In doing what they said they would do. Attack the goal. It's 1-0 Atlas.
Just a miscommunication. That was a pass back. Two players from the Bucks just looked at it. It snuck through traffic. Atlas on a breakaway, untouched, tucks it in the back of the net here in the 16th minute. First shot attempt overall for Atlas FC. Sometimes that's all it takes. You could be substantially outpossessed, outshot, outcornered by an opposition, but as I've said it a million times in my media career, sports like soccer and hockey, it is all about finishing opportunities, and so far, Atlas came through in the clutch.
Alonzo Rapol on the receiving end of that feed, and the forward who again was featured on the local news talking about this matchup. He knew exactly what he was getting in terms of the opponent tonight, and that time a perfect break on that ball. Flint City just lost track of him, and he makes it a 1-0 lead in favor of the Mexican side here tonight, just across 16 minutes in. Kid born in January 25, 2005. Which is crazy to think of, with you and I talking about that.
I sometimes look at birth dates of athletes that we cover, and I have to take a step back. Like, I was interviewing a young lady from Oklahoma City last night on the phone after we got done with the broadcast, and this is an individual. She plays at a high level. She's playing at an amateur level. She's on the U.S. Youth National Team, State Player of the Year 2 years in a row in high school. She was on the road this morning towards California for the ECNL National Championships. But I had to realize this is somebody that is only 17 years old, and I've done this for 33 years.
Right, exactly. Of course, someone that has had experience on the national level, too. Scored a brace for Mexico U17, oddly enough, in a 2-0 win over Ireland in 2021. And he just snuck one past the Irish goalie and Jamie Berry here tonight to get the 1-0 lead.
And that is not a problem with goalkeeping. Sometimes it was just a lazy pass in the final third of the field. Another defender just kind of let it roll by, and then Rapoli just sneaks through that little gap, 1v1 on Barry, tucks it to the back of the net.
Well, advertise with NSN to reach a wide audience through live soccer broadcasts. We offer customized ad packages, including 30 and 60-second commercials placed across our soccer streams. Boost your brand's visibility and engage with fans in real time. Scan the QR code on your screen or call 586-304-4405. Again, that's 586-304-4405. This one bleeds into Jamie Berry in front of net, settles it down. Just shy of 20 minutes here in this first half, nearly about halfway in, and a 1-0 lead in favor of Atlas, all the way in Flint, Michigan, from Guadalajara, Mexico tonight, an international friendly. And I'm sure it probably doesn't feel too friendly in the heat of competition, but I'm sure an exciting opportunity for these kids nonetheless to not only play an American side, but beat an American side.
From the mindset of being down 1-0 early, again, that is the only shot attempt of this game for Atlas FC, but it puts the Bucks into a hole. How do they react? Because they might be in a position here down the stretch where they're looking to make a playoff push. Maybe they make the playoffs in the USL League 2 and looking to advance. This is a team that's been very good again this season. They're 7-2 overall, 5-2 in USL League 2 games in that Great Lakes division, but in those 9 matches, including a couple of non-conference friendlies, they only gave up 6 goals going into this game here tonight. They have a 23-6 overall scoring edge, 15-5 in the USL League 2 Great Lakes division, but they did have a couple of setbacks here a month ago where they lost 2 games in 4 or 5 day stretch. Again, it is a team that just doesn't give up very many chances. They don't give up very many goals, and conceding an early goal here, we'll see how they react over the course of this first half and into the second half.
Just across 20 minutes here as they play this one out. Of course, Rapol, one of those centerpieces for this Atlas team. And I have to say, I'm really impressed with their willingness to not only go on the news, but to do that interview. You know, I got to say, you know, at least for me watching it on my way down here, you know, obviously Costa Papista is huge, president of the Flint City Bucks, but you know, to be a part of that and to do their best, too, in terms of interviewing in English. And it was interesting because it was something that Javier Moran actually mentioned immediately is there's a hard tackle just inside the 20. A clean one, though, and a throw-in coming up here more than likely for Flint City. Don't believe there will be any disciplinary action on that one. It looked like a clean tackle at least, and it looks like it will be. So just telling them to back up here for a throw-in. But it's not an easy thing to do, especially if it's not your native language, but they did it. They came on. They talked about the importance, and I just got to give my tip of the cap to those guys and being willing to step up and do that. It's not an easy position to put yourself in, but you can tell it means a little bit to them. Of course, not the first time that these two clubs have ever met. On the UWS side, they've actually met already. Here is the set piece. Bent in towards the box, so I misspoke a little bit earlier. It was not a throw-in. In fact, it was a set piece. No cards presented, though, here through 21 minutes in this one. As Flint City will play it wide and look for another cross. Angled in. Headed away. Atlas has done a good job of battening down the hatches when they need to. Now Dennis. Out wide for one that's crossed right back this direction. And I believe an offside's called. So Alonzo Rapol, first goal of the game for Atlas FC. As again, they roll it out from goal here. 15 minutes in that one, and it's making the difference. Of course, the other thing that Costa Papista, Dan, during that interview talked about, they're going to make it an event tonight. It's not just going to be another match. It's not just going to be another game between two teams, but you can see they got the bounce house off in the distance. They got food trucks here tonight. Really went all out to make this an event. Good turnover. Munns feeds it atop the box. Rainbolt had that one ripped away from his possession. It's been tough to connect up the field as this time Flint City looks for one that's through, but it's wide off the foot of Brussels. As Hernandez will bring it towards that back line, wait patiently, and then pick it up. As he made Bart Munns run all the way in before he did so.
Flint City Bucks, they've also have done a great job of always attracting fans. They have a huge fan base, even in 2019 when they first year they were playing up in Flint at Atwood Stadium, and they hosted a national championship. They won that game 1-0. They've always had a solid fan base, but they've increased it since they moved to Flint. You see that large VIP tent. They do have bounce houses and events for kids to enjoy. You know, up here in the press box, the bleachers are on the north side here. This stadium can seat over 11,000 fans if needed be, and they will bring in several thousand, you know, fans of these games. When they won that national championship 6 years ago, they had almost 8,000 fans in attendance.
Out of bounds along that back line. Looks like a goal kick coming up here for Hernandez. Just about 25 minutes into this first half. Of course, at halftime, we'll take a look at how everything broke down in half number one. And Atlas, at the moment, they look comfortable playing out of their defensive half. I mean, there's no real rush. Defending well. It seems like Flint City had a lot of positive momentum. And again, working out a lot of turnovers. Their midfield has looked exceptional, but it just hasn't led to the connections downfield. Another example there is Hernandez will get it back to boot it away.
So 25th minute, and the Bucks have controlled play throughout. Again, they have not conceded a corner kick. The only shot they have conceded in this game was a steal, 1v1 breakaway. Alonzo Rapol tucking one home back in the 16th minute. The Bucks have done a good job regrouping. Again, they have put a lot of pressure on to start this game. They've put a lot of pressure on since they went down 1-0. We'll see. There's actually a yellow card.
Yeah, there's the first one of the game. Looked like Hector Medina ended up getting that one, went right over top of a Bucks player, and we'll get the booking here. So another set piece coming up for Flint City in a good spot to maybe put one on goal here 25-30 in. By the way, this game tonight being officiated Megan Browser, Jeremy Valentine, Tanner Vincent, as well as Jared Winsley officiating this one tonight. So it looks like Ola Arnson, the man who took the last set piece to line it up here for Flint City.
Great opportunity for the Bucks to send that in the mixing bowl, try to get a shot attempt.
Up and over top of the mixing bowl. Out of bounds, Hernandez gets ready to boot it away. Our match officials for this one here tonight: Jafar Rasul, assistant referees Logan Io, Derek Mraz, and Rick Io as well are 4 officials for this ball game here tonight. And already the physicality starting to pick up. And I know I mentioned earlier that Atlas FC talked about the American side maybe being a little bit more physical. Seems like they're bringing the boom here tonight. As back to his feet is Ellis Jones. Little tap on the backside that time from Anthony Bautista. No harm, no foul.
4 fouls against Atlas thus far, just 1 against Flint City. We just crossed into the 28th minute.
Of course, talking about the historical stadium that Atlas plays in, can't forget about here at Kettering University, Atwood Stadium. The long history here as well means a lot to the community. And we talk about sections of the country where soccer means more. I think you can certainly say that about Flint.
When Flint Powers Catholic High School switched locations here about a decade ago, you can see the lines for lacrosse, soccer, and football. So Flint Powers Catholic does play those 3 sports inside Atwood Stadium.
So correction on our goal scorer, by the way. It was actually Eric Villegas, the defender, that put in the goal. Also out of the hometown, one of the hometown kids, Guadalajara, that made it 1-0 in favor of Atlas as they play it out near side to one Hector Medina, who is carrying a yellow already in this game as he tries to fit it up the sidelines. Offside's called here. Hands the ball back to Flint City. There's, you say, Eric Villegas, 15 minutes into this game as we approach the 30th minute. But one of the hometown kids, they do have a lot of them on their team. But again, we talked about a couple of California products as well. Oh, there's a hard exchange towards midfield. And this will hand the ball off to Atlas just inside the halfway mark. Looked like it was Bart Munns who was tied up. One of the Atlas players took the brunt of the exchange. They'll have an opportunity to send a ball forward towards net.
Player still down on the turf, kind of rubbing the back of his head. But up in his own accord, we just crossed into the 30th minute, so about 16 minutes plus stoppage time left here in the first half.
Wasting no time getting back to it. They work it back into their own defensive end. It's Medina again. Rolls it up through the middle, but another fine interception from the midfield for Flint City. Can they finally connect on one? And an offsides is called again, just a little bit too far out in front. We've seen that a couple of times for Flint in this first half, and Atlas gets it back. So we get ready to cross over 30 minutes here in half number 1.
You can see that it was a perfectly threaded ball, just a half a step offside. Second time the Bucks have been whistled for a player in an offside position thus far.
Again, playing out of their back line here. NSN Game Rewind, by the way, brings the past to life with full commentary and dynamic graphics. Relive your favorite games with a professional broadcast experience where the past lives in the future. Scan the QR code or call 586-304-4405. Again, that's 586-304-4405 to start watching today. That's NSN Game Rewind. Possession in favor of Atlas. Just 1-0 the lead for those of you joining us here on WNEM tonight. An international friendly between Atlas FC from Mexico. Again, the Flint City Bucks, proud members of the USL League 2, a long storied history of this club in that group. So there's that air of uncertainty a little bit, Dan Stickrat, coming into this game, but it leads to some exciting play. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, not the first time these two clubs have met. Flint City AFC actually played against Atlas on the women's side. So it's not the first time that these two have met. They've actually played in an international friendly, albeit on the women's side of things. But you could tell, at least over the course of the last handful of years, this has been a little bit of a priority for Flint City. Of course, had an international matchup in 2022. This is the first time they've done so since, but just another attempt by this squad to gather some name recognition, maybe outside of the state of Michigan and even the United States, for that matter.
Flint City Bucks have never been bashful about trying to schedule some tough non-conference games. They will go out and play a handful of friendlies every summer. Sometimes they'll enter those minor cups where there's 8, 16 teams. You'll play games over a month and a half period. They have nothing to do with the USL League 2, but that also gives you a chance to play a lot of players. The Bucks will sign 30 to 40 players per summer, and a lot of these non-conference friendlies that we talked about in the pregame, you'll dress a few more players for tonight's match. You'll give some guys that aren't getting much or any playing time in your conference games a chance to shine in a match like this.
Oh, turnover nearly results in a goal here for Flint City. And again, the comfort level of Atlas to just work it off the back line and this short passing, it works to a certain extent. You got to figure at a certain point, Flint City's going to be able to figure this out. So they look to crack the code yet again. Arntzen, good dish. He's got a man out wide. Wertmuller tries to cross it back in front, but headed away out of trouble again, and a throw in deep in Atlas territory here for Flint City.
Bucks, again, they are utilizing their speed to close down those passing lanes, force turnovers. You can see how quickly they will switch fields, knock it back to the defenders.
They work it wide of the 18 again and loft one in front as Hernandez is able to go up, pull it in with the big paws, and then falls on top of it. They're 33.5 in.
3-1 in shots in favor of the Flint City Bucks. Both teams 1 shot on goal. Bucks also have the game's only corner kick because we're now in the 34th minute.
Handling this one out wide, looking for an opportunity to fit it up the sidelines. Matt Dries. Flint City back towards the midfield. A shot towards goal, and Hernandez no problem knocking that one down. Tracking that one the entire way defensively as here he goes, handling it along that back line again, waiting patiently to pick it up.
But that shot was courtesy of that high pressure. There was a steal forced 4 or 5 seconds before that shot. Bucks have continued to put pressure on that back line. Unsuccessful in terms of getting a glorious shot on frame. They've had 2 shots on goal, but both routine saves.
Another turnover again, but across wide of everything. Arntzen continues to try and find a way to angle one in to maybe a red jersey in the middle. And he's someone that's been active in this game here today. You talk about getting different players opportunities. Arntzen getting his shot here tonight out of Norway initially, but playing over at the University of Wisconsin in the Big Ten. Obviously, we know about some of the teams in the Big Ten and the level of play that they bring. Of course, Indiana's had a long history, but Wisconsin trying to build something special as well. Near side, they got a man. Hernandez a save. Ball still loose. The rebound is wide. The aforementioned Arntzen nearly put in a banger, but Hernandez with a heroic save keeps it 1-0 in favor of Atlas.
Right.
There's another look at it.
Right idea. That was a one-time shot outside the box. The Bucks are not just putting on a lot of high pressure. They are testing the goalkeeper for Atlas SC, Luis Hernandez. Seeing what type of range he has. If he's just going to be quality on short-range shots, can you sneak one in from distance? Again, the Bucks, we are now in the 36th minute, getting right across into the 37th, and they have dominated this entire game in terms of possession.
Hernandez, I think we're learning this about him early in this game. He has springs in his shoes. You saw the athleticism and the ability to go up and get that last one. Goalkeeper for this squad. He's been here for a couple of years now. Trying to make something out of his time here with Atlas FC. Of course, Mexico's produced a couple of great goaltenders over the years. Trying to be the latest. And again, we talked about the academy for Atlas FC. It's what really separates their club from a lot of different clubs. And that's important because if you can get them in young, you can shape them the way you want to. And I know, obviously, with the impact that Flint City has in the community, you could say the same thing on the other side as well. Trying to get more and more of that soccer talent here over the east side to buy into the vision. And it's clearly resulted in this team doing a lot of great things, albeit a lot of different players on this team, not from the state of Michigan, only a handful of them from the state. What looked like a healthy challenge there. And it'll be Atlas who gains possession here just across 37.
So 9 total fouls so far in this game. 5 against Atlas, 4 against the Flint City Bucks. Been relatively a clean game, just 1 yellow card issued to the visitors.
So Atlas trying to work their way across the midway point here, just past 37 minutes, about to hit 38, 1-0 lead after the goal a little bit earlier by one Eric Villegas as we cross 38 minutes. Of course, we have a question of the day, a poll today on the National Soccer Network, and the question is, Dan Stickrat, Nike or Adidas? And
the age-old question, right?
And I guess I would say it depends. In the soccer space, I think there is room to certainly say Adidas, albeit Nike is the proud sponsor of American soccer. How about this deep ball for Flint City? Trying to give a little bit of that flavor back to Atlas, and it's an offsides called. Again, Flint City gets burned by the offsides, and they hand the ball right back to the team in white as we approach 40 minutes into this first half. Where do you fall on the whole Adidas-Nike conversation?
Funny. I'm a little older, but I remember back in, I hate to date myself, but back in the 80s and 90s, I mean, in terms of soccer gear, Diadora was like a huge name in the soccer space in the U.S.
That's one I don't even know.
Things have changed. I mean, Nike and Adidas are both trying to break in, not break in. They've already broken through, but they're trying to get their piece of the pie, as they are for any ball sport, really.
Of course. Of course, we talk about the U.S. men's national team quite a bit. Saw it a little bit earlier inside the game, 9 to 10 a.m. weekdays on the National Soccer Network. Jonathan Turner and myself breaking down all the soccer action, not only from the network, but around the soccer world. You check that out, Roku, X, Facebook, as well as YouTube. Go give us a follow. We do take your live comments on that show. So we'll talk about this matchup here tonight, coming up tomorrow. Kind of a unique set of circumstances here for this broadcast tonight. It's not too often that you get an opportunity to broadcast a game for a team that isn't from the United States, but Dan Stickrad, it is the world's game, and that's what makes it beautiful. So in a time and age right now in the United States where we got a lot of different international teams, whether it be the club teams for the FIFA World Cup, whether it be as we look forward to the World Cup in 2026, a lot of different squads from all over the world coming here to the U.S., and glad that we have the opportunity to bring it to everybody.
It's amazing to think about how many people on the planet right now actually engage in soccer in one way or another. If you are a player or a coach, and I'm including a player, you could be a 55 and older league, it doesn't matter. Then just soccer fans in general, watching U.S. soccer over the years at different levels, and I'm talking about from youth club and high school through college, the pre-professional, amateur space, professional, even with national teams. Some areas draw extremely well. There are some markets like in the Major League Soccer where they will draw better for a soccer game than they will for an NBA or NHL franchise.
Set piece off a hard challenge. It's Arnson again. They've smelled the blood in the water in this first half at Flint City. Can they finally capitalize? Arnson, great ball into the mix. Headed atop the 18, still bouncing around like a pinball. They're trying to wrestle it back, and they finally do, but Atlas at the very least forces it further out. As now they rainbow one in. Dennis is there. Dennis is turned away by Hernandez. Ball still bouncing around. Atlas able to get out of trouble momentarily as it squeezes out of bounds far side, and a throw in with 3 minutes to go until we hit 45.
Hernandez was forced off his line. He did not hesitate to come out and try to play that ball, even though the Bucks had several players swarming the box area. He's a very athletic, very agile keeper, patrolling his box with authority. He will make stops along that goal line. He will come out and try to play the ball, even if there are several players in the vicinity.
Of course, we were mentioning Inside the Game, the podcast, a little bit earlier. One thing we were talking about, our director of broadcasting, Jonathan Turner, was a goalie once upon a time, and he talked about, sometimes you need your goalies to have a screw loose, to be willing to kind of stick their neck out there from time to time. It seems like Hernandez is really turning it up a notch, not afraid to get into the mix and maybe take some bumps and bruises, and that's kept it a 1-0 game.
You have to be daredevil in certain sports. Like being a goalkeeper in soccer and hockey,
we do have a player down, by the way, here for Atlas, so we'll get that situation figured out. I believe there is a set piece coming up for Atlas, but they'll check on the down player here with 2 minutes to go until we hit 45.
Yeah, but back to the daredevil thing, you look at a goalkeeper in soccer or hockey, a pole vaulter in track and field. You need that certain mindset to be able to do those types of things. I mean, competitive cheerleading has become a huge thing in our country. It's not for everyone. You have to be extremely athletic. That daredevil gene has to be involved. There's other types of sports as well, but even like snowboarding and skiing, skateboarding along a half pike, some of the things these athletes do in their respective sports, most people can't do that. Most people won't even dare to start to try to do that stuff. So,
right.
Yeah, so again, goalkeeping, you do have to have that mindset, that gene in you to be able to, dive to your left, dive to your right, jump above a player off a set piece, come off your line, and maybe you might get run over. But as goalkeepers will tell you, they don't mind a little bit of contact.
It'll actually be Flint City to throw this one in just past 44 minutes. That was Ricardo Sardinas, by the way, but no problem, back to his feet as they possess it out wide here. Rainbolt gives it off as they try to work one back towards the middle again, but out of bounds off the leg of an Atlas player. Looked like that was John A. Elvis.
You're in the 45th. We're only 30 seconds away from stoppage time. Second corner kick of this match. coming up for the Flint City Bucks. They would love nothing more to equalize this game before the break.
So into 3 minutes of added time. So they try to loop one over. Hernandez, a leaping attempt. Couldn't get the arms on it. But it's out of bounds. Will it be another corner kick? It will be. And now my question is that due to the defender touching it? Let's get another look at this one. That was Arnson. And I don't know if they just tried to play that one because he thought it was deflected. I'm not exactly sure.
Hernandez might have got a fingertip. Even
got
though
a piece of it.
That was a cross. It was not going towards the goal. It's just wide of that post. But
Russell will try again. Whistles one in. Can't get through the host of white jerseys. Hernandez leaps for it and gets upended in the process. Is able to save it. Ooh, and now we got some extracurriculars as a few bodies hit the ground. We're just in half number one, but things starting to pop off.
Yellow card issued to players from both teams thus far. Still,
we got everybody from both sides involved in this shoving match. Hernandez ended up taking the brunt of the collision. Was in the mix of about 3 different Flint players that went up to try and play that ball. And then madness afterwards. Here's another look at this exchange. Hernandez trying to punch it away from that back line. Ended up getting his legs taken out from under him, and that's what led to all the issues there. Referee trying to sort this out. There was another yellow that was presented. I don't know who that was presented to, but another one, I believe, on the side of Atlas.
Hernandez kind of came out kamikaze type style. There was 2 Flint City Bucks players there near the end line. He kind of leapt between both those players to get a fingertip on that ball, but he kind of leaned into a Bucks player. It's kind of hard if you're an attacking player and the ball is in play and you're trying to shield it or trying to, play with a header. Sometimes they will call that, sometimes they won't. It just depends on the official.
Throw in here for Atlas. 2 minutes of added time in. Got about 60 seconds left. Barring they don't pack a little bit more time on that. Foul off the throw in and a free kick coming up. And Dan, we talk about the Michigan-Ohio rivalry, and it's not just the football game at the end of the season. It really extends to the entire state. The Michigan and Ohio, it's just a thing. And you could certainly say it's the same thing when it comes to American sides and Mexican soccer sides as well. Obviously a rivalry on the international level, but we're starting to see a level of physicalness and chippiness in this first half that come to be expected when you see clubs from the respective countries on the same pitch together. Obviously, this is an Atlas FC side that has played MLS sides in the past as a part of Liga MX. So they have played some of the top leagues or top teams and top leagues in this country. Flint City's been hard to handle in this first half, but you wouldn't know it if you looked at the scoreboard. As that will officially be the end of half number one. 1-0 the lead in favor of Atlas FC U23. Eric Villegas with the one to make the difference 15 minutes in. Flint the edge in terms of possession and shots on, but nothing to show for it through the first 45 and some change. 1-0 Atlas as we head to halftime. We'll be right back for half number 2 as we figure out who wins this international friendly between a couple of the best clubs from each respective country right here. You're watching this one on WNEM.
This is Inside the Game, where passion meets precision. Jonathan Turner, Nathan Wangler, and John Natale are your hosts, breaking down every goal, every controversy, every match that matters. From the heart of American soccer to the global stage. No fluff, just football. Weekdays at 9 a.m. live on YouTube, Roku TV, Facebook, Twitter, and all listening platforms. Step in, speak up, stay locked in. This is Inside the Game.
The Flint City Bucks are Michigan's top soccer franchise with 4 national championships, 9 conference titles, and 15 Great Lakes Division titles. They have produced 107 players for Major League Soccer, and they focus on attracting top talent and shaping soccer's future. Michigan Bucks Academy joins MLS Next new competition tier starting in September of 2025. This offers elevated levels of play and flexibility for high school participation. The Academy will provide premier development, high-performance training, and exposure to scouts through regional tournaments and MLS Next events. For more information on tryouts, training programs, and key updates as we prepare for our first season in MLS Next new tier, visit MichiganBucksAcademy.com.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind. Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics, letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail. Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play, NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate. Call 586-304-4405 and start watching today.
The 2025 UDM Boys Summer College Prospect ID Camp is designed for field players and goalkeepers seeking exposure to college coaches, professional training sessions, competitive matches, and insight into the college soccer environment. Directed by the UDM men's soccer staff, this camp is ideal for players serious about advancing their soccer careers. On July 26th and 27th, the camp becomes a perfect platform for aspiring athletes to showcase their talent and commitment. For more information and to register, visit DetroitMercySoccerCamps.com.
Accelerate your soccer journey this summer at Oakland University. From June 30th to July 31st, players will have the incredible opportunity to refine their skills under the guidance of Oakland University soccer coaches. Train at world-class facilities while gaining insight into life in a collegiate environment. These camps cater to a range of skill sets and ages from youth programs to the Elite ID program, ensuring participants are surrounded by peers who challenge and inspire. As one of the premier soccer institutions in the Horizon League, Oakland University soccer program offers an unparalleled environment for growth and development. Don't miss your chance. Register now at OaklandBoysSoccerCamps.com.
The 2025 UDM Boys Summer College Prospect ID Camp is designed for field players and goalkeepers seeking exposure to college coaches, professional training sessions, competitive matches, and insight into the college soccer environment. Directed by the UDM men's soccer staff, this camp is ideal for players serious about advancing their soccer careers. On July 26th and 27th, the camp becomes a perfect platform for aspiring athletes to showcase their talent and commitment. For more information and to register, visit DetroitMercySoccerCamps.com.
Boost your brand with NSN's live soccer broadcast, reaching a passionate audience in real time.
Engage fans during thrilling soccer matches. Maximize visibility with tailored ad packages.
Add 30-second or 60-second commercials for concise, impactful messaging and greater audience connection. Call 586-304-4405 and start your campaign today.
It is halftime on the National Soccer Network, and the vibes are immaculate here at Kettering University. The Mariachi Band, our halftime performance for this game between Flint City, the Bucks, and Atlas FC U23. Nate Wangler back alongside Dan Sticker at Dan, a 1-0 game after that first half. It was 15 minutes in. It was Eric Villegas who put the first goal on the board. We can take a look at some of our highlights from that first half. I think it's important to note that the overwhelming edge in terms of opportunities and possession is, here's a look at Villegas of a beautiful feed through the middle. They just lost track of him, but was able to break away and put that first one in, and that's the only one, but not for lack of opportunities for Flint in that first half.
Flint City Bucks 7-1 overall in shots, so the only shot they conceded resulted in that breakaway goal by Atlas. Bucks 3-1 with shots on frame. They have the game's only 3 corner kicks. Two teams have combined for 13 fouls. It got a little chippy there in the last 5 or 6 minutes of that first half. Both teams getting 2 yellow cards apiece that we know of. The yellow was flying around there in that goal. Miles Scrumus players from both teams right here.
And here's a look at that exchange. Hernandez getting upended and a little bit of pushing and shoving afterwards.
Yep.
So the intensity, maybe a little bit of flopping to go with that, but you got to sell it a little bit.
Going on.
That's a part of the game, unfortunately. Looked like getting the brunt of that one was Miguel Hernandez, the other of the Hernandezes on this team, but you got to give it a little credit. Luis Hernandez has been able to keep them in this game. He's been clean through the first 45 and some change. It's 1-0 Atlas. As we head to break, we'll bring you right back for the start of the second half as we boogie our way into half number 2 here on WNEM.
This is Inside the Game, where passion meets precision. Jonathan Turner, Nathan Wangler, and John Natali are your hosts, breaking down every goal, every controversy, every match that matters. From the heart of American soccer to the global stage. No fluff, just football. Weekdays at 9 a.m. live on YouTube, Roku TV, Facebook, Twitter, and all listening platforms. Step in, speak up, stay locked in. This is Inside the Game.
The Flint City Bucks are Michigan's top soccer franchise with 4 national championships, 9 conference titles, and 15 Great Lakes Division titles. They have produced 107 players for Major League Soccer, and they focus on attracting top talent and shaping soccer's future. Michigan Bucks Academy joins NLS Next new competition tier starting in September of 2025. This offers elevated levels of play and flexibility for high school participation. The Academy will provide premier development, high-performance training, and exposure to scouts through regional tournaments and MLS Next events. For more information on tryouts, training programs, and key updates as we prepare for our first season in MLS Next new tier, visit MichiganBucksAcademy.com.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind.
Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics, letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail. Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play, NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate. Call 586-304-4405 and start watching today.
The 2025 UDM Boys Summer College Prospect ID Camp is designed for field players and goalkeepers seeking exposure to college coaches, professional training sessions, competitive matches, and insight into the college soccer environment. Directed by the UDM men's soccer staff, this camp is ideal for players serious about advancing their soccer careers. On July 26th and 27th, the camp becomes a perfect platform for aspiring athletes to showcase their talent and commitment. For more information and to register, visit DetroitMercySoccerCamps.com.
Accelerate your soccer journey this summer at Oakland University. From June 30th to July 31st, players will have the incredible opportunity to refine their skills under the guidance of Oakland University soccer coaches. Train at world-class facilities while gaining insight into life in a collegiate environment. These camps cater to a range of skill sets and ages, from youth programs to the Elite ID program, ensuring participants are surrounded by peers who challenge and inspire. As one of the premier soccer institutions in the Horizon League, Oakland University Soccer Program offers an unparalleled environment for growth and development. Don't miss your chance. Register now at OaklandBoysSoccerCamps.com.
The 2025 UDM Boys Summer College Prospect ID Camp is designed for field players and goalkeepers seeking exposure to college coaches, professional training sessions, competitive matches, and insight into the college soccer environment. Directed by the UDM men's soccer staff, this camp is ideal for players serious about advancing their soccer careers. On July 26th and 27th, the camp becomes a perfect platform for aspiring athletes to showcase their talent and commitment. For more information and to register, visit DetroitMercySoccerCamps.com.
Welcome you back in to our coverage here on WNEM of our international showdown, our international friendly. Take a look, a live look in Pennsylvania. They're still dealing with the heat. Cedar FC in action here tonight against Penn Fusion in this one. 88 degrees Fahrenheit in that ball game, but a 1-1 tie in that one. Elsewhere on the network, but we're here at Kettering University. The continuation of this matchup. Here in half number 2, it's Atlas FC again taking on Flint City Bucks. An international showdown between two of the best from Mexico and the United States as we take a peek at our first half stats. And this should give you an idea of the type of game we're dealing with here. Atlas FC is not attacking with volume, but they had the counterattack, and they only needed the one to get the one goal. And then on the opposite side of things, defensively, they've battened down the hatches. Now, that doesn't mean that Flint City hasn't gotten a lot of good opportunities, but right now Hernandez has been unbelievable in goal. Again, that defense just doing just enough to bend, but not necessarily break early in this one. And that's why they're out to a 1-0 lead right now.
Hernandez, just 3 official saves as we look at this chart in front of us, but he has been running around his box, patrolling with authority. He's drawn a couple fouls. His defense has played very well in that final third of the field because the Bucks have controlled play about 90% of this match so far. We're just seconds away from the start of half number 2. We'll see. Do the Bucks continue to play the way they've been playing in terms of attack? Because sometimes if you just keep attacking, eventually you'll break that opposition defense down and tuck one into the back of the net.
Again, as it goes, sometimes a lot of opportunities for the Flint City Bucks, but nothing to show for it so far. Eric Villegas with the only one, 15 minutes in for Atlas. See if they can keep up and maybe put in another one to salt this one away. All I know is we have a ball game coming into half number 2. Atlas going from left to right on your screen. Flint City will be going from right to left, again stepping away from their usual USL League 2 schedule. As you mentioned, Dan, they do play a handful of games outside of the league. And again, a lot of the players that you see in front of you in this one here tonight, not normally a part of the USL 2 league roster, but they will get rotational opportunities. Some of them will play, but this is an opportunity for maybe some of the other ones to show off their skills as they try to earn a position on that League 2 team. It's also just a point of pride. They just want to win for Flint City. We'll see if they can come back here in half number 2. 1-0 in favor of Atlas. And here we go, Nate Wangler. And again, alongside Dan Stickrat here on WNEM. It's international friendly. First time we've seen it in 3 years as Atlas nearly starts it off with another good through ball. Spending some time here in the offensive zone of Flint. We didn't see that a whole lot in the first half as it's immediately turned back over yet again. Ola Arnston was in the middle of a lot of that offensive push in the first half. Roman Kegsley off his left, trying to work it in deep for one to cross. But Kegley has him. As that ball sent away from him, so throw in upcoming here for Flint. Just 48 seconds into the second half.
City Bucks, they forced a turnover and got the ball downfield 40 seconds into this half.
70.
Kind of the way the whole first half was played out. The Bucks had possession. They were attacking in waves. See if they could find a way to break down that defense here in the second half.
Of course, you're talking about the coaching staff for Atlas FC in this ball game here tonight. Paul Doro, assistant coaches Nick Darren, Mally Walton for Flint City.
Mally Walton, a famous player in the Flint soccer circles. He played for Oakland University back in the early 1990s when they were still a Division II college. He was an All-State Dream Team player for Flint Northern. That was close to 35 years ago, but he is still very influential. He has been working tirelessly behind the scenes about building back up the youth soccer scene in the city of Flint.
Not only that, but in a lot of ways, there are many benefits of bringing players from all over the country to come play in this area. Hard foul in the defensive end here against Atlas, and that'll give them a chance here to take a set piece just past 2 minutes into the second half. But it is fascinating when you look at this roster for Flint City to see how many different colleges are represented and just how many different parts of the country as well. I mean, you got a handful of University of Wisconsin players. You got Wright State, Oral Roberts. Of course, you also have guys that haven't necessarily even been to college just yet. One out of Imlay City, Imlay City High School, and Javier Galena. Haven't seen him yet tonight, but it is a wide array of different colleges, different universities, different places that are represented for this Flint team. Out of bounds, Atlas will retain possession for a throw-in. That was Jesus Guillen handling it towards the near sidelines. They'll toss this one in. It'll be Eduardo Morales. It'll be interesting to see what changes, though, they made at halftime. Kind of deal with the flow of this Flint City team and maybe just get out in front of them. Here's to see the warm-ups on the right side. I love those, by the way. You got the green and red going on.
Atlas cannot be content with the 1-0 advantage. Again, they scored a goal on their only shot of this entire match. It came off a kind of a lazy pass, a steal, a 1v1, and the breaker was deposited into the back of the net. They did not have a single corner kick in that first half. They conceded possession about 90% to the Flint City Bucks. And the Bucks, if they keep attacking the way they've been attacking, eventually they'll likely get a great scoring opportunity, maybe able to equalize this match. So making some changes, Atlas needs to do that if they want to, maintain that advantage. The bend but break type of defense. Sometimes that works. Sometimes it doesn't always work.
Another foul this time against Flint City, and that'll force them to put the ball down here just wide of the midfield markers. They'll play it back in with about 5 minutes gone here in the second half. And Nate Wangler alongside Dan Stickrat for this one. If anything, maybe give you a look at what the future might look for this Flint City team. Some players that can make an impact on further down the line. As this Mexican side steps out of their comfort zone. It's a long way to get to Flint from where they're coming from as well. A little bit different than playing in a place like California or a place like Texas. Coming all the way up to the Great White North to play this game. They are already possessing the ball better in the second half than what they did in half number one.
It's probably the longest series of possession that Atlas has had in this game. They've been able to maintain the ball here for about 2 minutes.
It's fascinating to consider that they're leading this game 1-0, even despite that. But look like they're moving the ball better, a little bit more efficiently in the second half as Jesus Guillen will reverse it all the way into the backfield. And again, Hernandez, the ball atop the 18 as he plays it off to his right. Again, not afraid to play it off the back line, but we saw that nearly work against them in that first half. Almost a couple of critical turnovers that resulted in ones in the back of the net for Flint City. This time it looks like it's working out just fine. Looking for guys ahead. They have numbers. They loft one onto the foot of the aforementioned Guillen, but he carries it out of bounds, and I believe a goal kick upcoming here for Flint City. Again, Jamie Berry in between the pipes. And you can't really put that first goal on him either. It was just a great through ball. It was one-on-one. Really allowed an opportunity for Eric Villegas to carry it in deep, and at that point, you're just hoping for a miracle. Maybe you can get a hand or a leg on it, but just one defensive lapse. And again, the Mexican side made him pay.
There's a rare turnover by the Flint City Bucks here just a few seconds ago. But at time and time again, I've seen matches like this, regardless of what level of the soccer pyramid we're talking about. It could be a college game, a high school varsity game, an amateur pre-professional game, high-end youth club. It doesn't really matter, but I've seen it thousands of times where a team will outpossess, outshoot, outcorner a team, have so many different types of chances, and they'll end up losing game 1-0 or 2-1. It's just the way soccer is sometimes.
Throw in here for Atlas. Of course, the club's colors, ironically enough, red and black. It's the same colors, well, red and white here tonight that we see Flint City wearing, but it's actually kind of a story behind why they wear those colors. Obviously, it's a club that has a lot of history behind it. As Flint City will try and set up a set piece here after a hard foul in the defensive end. Referee being forced to intervene here as the pettiness continues here between these two sides.
Yeah, Atlas has done that several times in this match where the Bucks will try to take a quick set piece and the player is standing there. Now a yellow card has been issued. The referee has warned them. He just warned them about 15 seconds ago. The player did not walk away, so the yellow card was issued. Atlas has been doing that throughout this entire match.
Using chippiness, maybe using some mind games in order to gain an advantage. Can Flint City even this one up? Arnson tried to lob one in and now works over a turnover as he takes out his own player. Into the corner he goes and can't find a way to cross it. Expert defense here from Atlas as they try to play the ball back towards the middle. This midfield has been so good for Flint tonight in working over turnovers, but they just can't solve that back line as now they have room to run, and a player gets ripped down. Ellis Jones hooks up the attacker on his way past, and I believe a card was issued on that play. Yellow card on that one, and almost a little surprised it wasn't anything more than that.
It may have been type of a retaliation, little
Yeah.
love check there, and referee taking command. He's going to start throwing cards. They have warned players on both teams of some of the stuff that's been going on. We saw that scrum there late in the first half, which resulted in, I believe, in 3 total yellow cards between these two teams. Could have been a few more as well. But the referee does not want this game to get out of hand. He's going to start booking players left and right if this continues.
Here's another look at it. Yeah, I mean, that's as clear as it gets. Kind of a clothesline, pulls him directly back. And credit to the ref, maybe, for not pulling out the red in that situation. You don't want to see anybody get bounced out of this game, especially with it just being an international friendly. But, again, friendly doesn't necessarily mean friendly on the pitch. It just means it's not a part of a league or a schedule anywhere.
But
it certainly hasn't seemed friendly, at least through this game.
It's funny how that terminology is thrown around because soccer really is the only sport we'll call a non-conference game of friendly. If you think about it, they go through all the other team sports out there, let it be football, basketball, baseball,
exhibition,
lacrosse, whatever. It's just an exhibition match, a non-conference
scrimmage
game. But here it is always considered in this sport a friendly.
No one said they had to be friendly at the friendly, though. That's the difference. Chipped out of bounds in front of us. Throw in upcoming here for Flint City. Atlas just trying to lean on the Bucks a little bit, take them out of their game. Good fake that time. Rainbolt as it ripped away.
Rainbolt and Casually have been very effective. So has Bart Munz. A lot of that high pressure. They've continued to do that since the opening kickoff. See if they can finally wear down that back line, maybe get a perfectly placed cross, maybe a slot through traffic where there's just enough time, just enough space to get off a great shot attempt, maybe even a game-tying goal here for Flint City.
Nearly Flint City able to work back possession off that throw-in. Instead, it'll be another one here for Atlas. So you're talking about the club colors. They do wear red and black, inspired by the patron saint of Ampleforth College, St. Lawrence, whose martyrdom is symbolized by black and red, the club's nickname. Los Roy Negros, the red and blacks, reflects that, as they have an offsides of what looked like a tremendous opportunity. That one crossed into the mix, advancing up the field well, though. We didn't see that type of offensive pressure and that build-up in the first half, but apparently whatever Javier Moran said during the halftime speech, starting to crack the code a little bit more, but not if Flint has anything to say about it. And another offsides, I believe. So high, fast-paced, end-to-end soccer results in a pair of offsides, and Atlas FC to send it away from goal.
So that's the third time in this game that Flint City's been whistled for a player in an offside position. Just a minute ago, Atlas SC had a player offside as well, so they've had 2 infractions in that category so far. We're in the 58th minute, getting ready to cross into the 59th here in just a few seconds.
It's a live look at the other games here on the National Soccer Network. A lot of action here tonight. We're talking about some of the other ones. We were mentioning that matchup out in Pennsylvania a little bit earlier, but again, you can catch all of those on NSN. Live on Roku TV here tonight. Flint City. Rainbolt sent away, and then another retaliatory challenge.
Referee does not pull out his card on that foul, but you can assume if that happens again, there will be another yellow card issued.
Yeah, you can tell that he's trying to hold off as much as humanly possible from going to the worst possible result or the most disciplinary action. He wants this game to be fluent and just move, but at a certain point, you have to know when to call it quits. But to his credit, both sides Both sides have been perpetuating that tonight. It's not just necessarily one side or the other. It's just competitive ball. And again, a level of physicality. Credit to this Mexican side, really bringing that level of physicality to the pitch tonight.
You got to like the intensity, though, even though this game does not count in any type of standings whatsoever. Both teams do not want to go down in this game. There is a little bit of pride factor kicking in, as you expect with any type of international flavor of a match.
Well, subscribe to NSN on YouTube for exclusive soccer content, live streams, highlights, and more. Stay connected to all the action by hitting that subscribe button. Don't miss out. Join the NSN community today. A drive off the set piece, deflection out of bounds. I believe that will mean a corner here for Atlas. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it's number 1. Yes, it is number 1 of the game, just past 60 minutes in. So starting to find a little bit more in the way of Big Mo here in the second half. A couple of impressive runs, and now a chance to put one in from the corner. Just look at all the players in the box right there. Grabbing, shoving, pushing for position.
Well, they're not salsa dancing, so.
You've seen plenty of that on the sidelines, though. They weren't kidding, man. They brought out the mariachi band. They got food trucks. They got everything. And right now they got some exciting ball to watch on top of that. Just past 60 minutes and a corner kick upcoming. They power it in. Nothing but red jerseys in the middle. They had it out of bounds, but it will stay with Atlas here.
Atwood Stadium, one of my favorite places to watch a match in the entire state of Michigan, whether it be USL League 2, maybe high school. You know, I've been up there several times for districts and regionals, Final Four matches. Because Kettering University, even though they operate this facility now, you see the Bulldogs label at midfield, they technically do not have any type of varsity sports. It is an engineering school where students will go to school and also do an internship, so they do not put together soccer or basketball or volleyball teams or anything else, but they do operate this facility. Flint Powers Catholic High School uses this. Flint City Bucks have been here since 2019 as well.
Also important to consider, it is a turf field. Now you're wondering, okay, what does that have to do with anything? I don't believe Atlas plays on turf when they're at home. I believe they play on grass. That's another element to exactly how this game looks. And you know, Dan, it's far different playing the game of soccer on turf than it is on grass. The ball bounces different. It rolls different. And maybe that was part of what we were seeing in that first half, just still getting used to playing on this type of surface as opposed to the one they're used to.
If you are a soccer player, you need to be able to adapt whatever your surroundings are. And I mean that grass versus turf. Sometimes grass is well manicured. Sometimes it's long.
Right.
You are an athlete. You also have to, play with the weather, because you might be playing in a youth club game in February where it's freezing out. Or you could be playing in a youth club game or an amateur game right now in June or July, and it's 105 degrees out with humidity. So you have to be able to adapt to the weather conditions and the field conditions. And sometimes these turf fields, the ball will roll at a faster pace than it will on a grass surface.
It rolls, and it rolls forever. I know that uniquely from having seen the difference between the two different sides. But Atlas has been using that extra roll to their advantage. Now Flint City trying to work out an opportunity in front, a massive bodies, and it finally squirts free. Now here comes Atlas. The build-up from the midfield has looked far different in this second half, but a good turnover as they play it out wide does Flint City. Now back into the middle. They got bodies there. Shot through, deflected. Maybe a second chance along the back line.
Bucks
but that opportunity is shut down as it looked like Cole Wertmuller got sent through that banner just beyond the back line. Here's another look at it again as the first half defended well, and then Wertmuller, boom, right through the Dort Financial sign.
Different type of contact here than other than on the pitch.
Little shoulder bump there, works the ball back for Atlas as they draw a throw in. You're just shy of midfield on the verge of 65 minutes into this game. And it's tough to say that the intensity will pick up as we go. I feel like the intensity is already at a fevered pitch.
It has been since the opening kickoff.
You talk about possession only means so much. Possession without purpose doesn't really mean much at the end of the day, and that's what Flint City is trying to figure out. How do we find the purpose in our possessions? Tough tackle from behind. It does result in the call. In Flint City with their own set piece, you're just inside of that 50.
So again, the Bucks have controlled much of the play here in this match. The only shot they conceded, it resulted in that goal. Up on your scoreboard in the upper left-hand corner, that goal came just over 15 minutes into this game. A steal, a breakaway. Eric Villegas puts it into the back of the net. Bucks, they've been a little bit stymied, a little bit frustrated at times because they have had the most possession. They've had a lot of crosses, been able to get the ball down into the final third of the field with regularity here in this game, just unable to get a great chance in terms of putting a laser, a banger on target.
Ooh, they might have an opportunity here, though. Wertmuller nearly able to break free. He was looking for a feed in front, but they turn it right back over. Now they find another man in the mix, but that header can't get through.
Fourth save of the night for Hernandez.
I believe that was Bart Munns who was in the mix. Did have a clean look at the header in front, but collected by Hernandez as he rolls it right back out, and here we go again.
You can see that high pressure the Bucks are starting to put again on that back line of Atlas. They did a ton of that in the first half.
And maybe kind of a product of their frustration, too, because they have been using that high press. They have been forcing the issue, but when you get as many turnovers, especially at the midfield that they have here today, you hope that it results in a goal or two, but give credit to that back four for Atlas. That last line of defense has done everything they can to take the pressure off Hernandez, but then you throw in a couple of quality saves too, and that leads to what we're seeing on the scoreboard right now, 1-0. And, of course, we talk about the U.S. men's national team a lot on that podcast, Inside the Game, that I was mentioning earlier, and that's always something that we talk about with them, possession with purpose. It's one thing to control possession, maybe have the edge and opportunities, but you got to put it in the back of the net. And right now, Atlas, despite not having that edge, still holding on to the edge in the one category that matters the most, and that's the 1-0 lead.
You're watching this game, 9-1 in total shots in favor of the Flint City Bucks, 4-1 with shots on goal. The Bucks 3-1 on corner kicks. So Jamie Berry, the goalkeeper for the Flint City Bucks, has not registered a save in this game. The only shot again was back just over 15 minutes into this game on the breakaway goal from Eric Villegas. And that is all the offense that Atlas SC has been able to generate in this game. They have had a little bit more possession here in the second half. There was that 2-minute stretch there early in the second half where they knocked it around, but they have not attempted a shot here in the second half. They did get that one corner kick about 15 minutes ago.
Of course, we got the soccer game in front of us. We also got the soccer game behind the game as well, as it looks like they just deflated the bounce house. So as they put this ball through, and it's sent high. Oh, off the throw-in. Nearly one in top shelf. A close shave on that top bar. It stays 1-0 Atlas. There's your look, poaches it through. And then a rocket shot, just a little bit too tall for the goal. Believe that was Villegas again, just missing out on that opportunity as they turn it back over, and here they come again. Looked like a 3-on-2, but can't connect on that secondary pass.
I just said about 15 seconds before that shot how Atlas had not attempted a shot in the second half. They finally were able to find a little bit of space there at the top of the box to shove one over the crossbar, but they've been a little bit more dangerous overall in this second half, trying to protect that 1-0 lead. Time is not on the side of Flint City Bucks. We just crossed into the 70th minute, so about 21 minutes plus stoppage time is all that's left.
Ooh, good spin off there at the midfield. They will play this one wide. Settling it wide is Kegley. Angles one into the box and is headed high up over top of everything and out of bounds. Possession here to Hernandez as we get ready to bleed inside of 20 minutes. Again, factoring added time, maybe a little bit more on top of that.
In league games and non-league friendlies, Flint City Bucks only shut out once this entire summer. About a month ago, they lost 2-0 on the road to Midwest United. That was in a Great Lakes division game of USL League 2. It came into tonight's match 23-6 overall scoring edge, 15-5 scoring edge in USL League 2 games. So this is a team that can finish. They have a lot of players that are very talented in the final third of the field. A little bit stymied, a little bit frustrated here tonight. We'll see in the final 20 minutes if they can kind of solve that Rubik's Cube and put one in the back of the net.
USL 2 national champions in 2019. Of course, they've been back to the postseason a handful of times since. Seems like yet again this year they're heading back in that correct direction. Right now in first place in that Great Lakes division as we'll get a few substitutes onto the pitch here. Looks like Baraka Kania checking in the midfield. Kadeem, a guard, is also in as they play off the set piece into the box. They have bodies there, but once again, Atlas, a proficient job at sending it away, as I believe there was a foul committed in the midst of all that.
6th foul the second half against the Flint City Bucks, 13th overall. A little bit of collision there just outside the box. Atlas has 3 fouls against here in this second half, 9 overall in the game. So these two teams have combined for 22 fouls. Have been a little physical here throughout the course of this game. So we're now in the 72nd minute.
Hernandez will take his time in sending this one away inside at 20 now until we hit that 90 mark. Hernandez has a decent boot on him too. But taken right back by Flint, looking to win the race. Attempting to cross one on, but sent away, and they'll just deal with the corner.
It's the first corner kick of the second half coming up for Flint City, 4th overall. Unsuccessful in a lot of their set pieces here tonight. See if they can finally put one in the right spot of the box, try to get a shot attempt off.
They have a small mountain to climb, but they have the clock working against them. One of the best teams in USL League 2 looking to get on the board. Angled in, top the 18, header there, and headed away momentarily, but not out of trouble just yet. Wide of the 18 it goes. Atlas takes back possession. And they draw a throw in. They're off the foot. Off West Carnivale. The kid out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And another peek at this one. Again, just can't get it through. Got the initial deflection there, but again, the second defender was what made all the difference in the world. If he's not there, pretty good chance Hernandez has a tough time getting to that ball.
You saw in that corner kick, the header was about 10 yards out. It was destined for that right post. The defender was there about 2 yards in front of that doorstep to head it away. So Flint City just can't find enough space to get a great scoring chance here in this game.
Hernandez playing a little bit of those mind games, waiting patiently before he picks it up as he gets ready to roll this one back out. Sun setting here at historic Atwood Stadium. Good turnout for both sides here tonight. Again, I have to give credit to Costa Papista and everybody who made this event special. A hard foul there in the middle. This time it's Thomas Rainbolt who ends up drawing the infraction. And this is one of the better set pieces of the night here for Flint City. Right in the middle of the pitch, 28 yards out from goal. And that's where they will attempt to draw even as we approach the final 15. Diamande, the one standing there. How do you approach this one, Dan Sicrat?
Maybe a little bit too far out to uncork one. Just chip it in towards the 6, the 8. See if you can have a couple players on that right side kind of make a run into the mixing bowl. Try to get a volley, maybe a header towards the framework.
They decided an attempt, and it's high.
You get a set piece like that. It's almost it is a wasted opportunity. That wasn't anywhere close. You can see that ball sailed about 5 yards above the crossbar.
It's good.
So we're in the 75th minute, getting ready to cross into the 76th. You might not get another opportunity like that. You have to make it count when you get a set piece.
Inside of 15 minutes, that last one high for Flint City. They've had a lot of positive juice in the second half. That one sent out near side. Picked up off the throw-in. They continue to try to get the ball back to Rainbolt, as now they'll flip it to the opposite end. And it's Dennis. Called his name quite a bit in that first half. Has that ball knocked down. Trying to break through the defensive end. Now looking to get the ball back. He's carrying it as Arnson. Gets taken down but maintains possession. Now scurried back near side. Kania has it taken away. And this Mexican team has been so good, Atlas, at winning those one-on-one matchups at many a times, as they'll get the ball back here just past the 76th minute. We'll book your game with NSN for professional live streaming and full broadcast services. Let us bring your event to life with high-quality production and coverage. Scan the QR code or call 586-304-4405. Again, that's 586-304-4405 to schedule your broadcast today with the National Soccer Network. So we see one of the Atlas players right now down on the pitch being attended to. And again, just kind of an indication of how physical exactly this game has been between these two. I think the best way to describe it is one of those games, it's knock down, drag out, and that is what it's certainly been here tonight against Atlas and Flint City.
Well, this will definitely add a few minutes of stoppage time on at the end of the second half. We've already seen 2 yellow cards, 1 apiece here in the second half. Now you have an injured player. He's been down on that turf for about a good minute and a half, still not up on his feet, so expecting to see a good 3 to 4 minutes of stoppage time now. Is there any other injuries or collisions or cards here in the final 13 minutes before stoppage time? So plenty of time for Flint City Bucks to get an equalizer. They have controlled this game throughout, only giving up 2 total shots, 1 on frame and 1 corner kick in this game. 12 total shots, 4 on frame and 4 corner kicks for the homestanding Flint City Bucks. Just unsuccessful on this night of putting one in the back of the net. So far, they are trying to equalize this game. There's still plenty of time to get a goal or 2. You just have to find the right amount of space. Take advantage of your set pieces within 30 yards of that goal. They've been unsuccessful again on 5 or 6 set pieces and the 4 corner kicks in this game.
And as is expected, sometimes when you have 2 squads that aren't used to playing each other a whole lot, you get a little bit of that feeling out process, but I feel like we've seen that open up more here in the second half. Some substitutes on the other side. Checking into the game for Atlas, he goes by Dylan, and only Dylan on the roster, so Dylan checks in. And it looks like also onto the pitch, Milton Esponda, as they roll this one back in, and here comes Flint City trying to catch them. A little shock and awe here, but that pass left behind the attacking Rainbolt. As they try to rainbow this one back towards the midfield. We'll believe a handball. We'll hand it here to Atlas.
That's the 8th foul against Flint City in the second half. As that set piece goes off the back of the head of an Atlas player.
Selling one near side. Foul committed. Looked like someone might have gotten an elbow in the ribs on that one. You saw Arnson trying to play it out quickly, but they're going to have to attend to the down player here before we go any further. Bodies hitting the ground here in the second half. A look at our scoring summary in this game. Eric Villegas with the one back in the 15th minute of this game. Their only shot on goal, their only attempt on goal in that first half, and it hit the back of the net, whereas the Flint City Bucks, nothing to show of what has been some great offensive pressure tonight. Now a ball through. Hernandez there, coming up off his line, tracks it down like a fly ball, lays on top of it before he gets ready to roll it back out inside of 10.
We talked about that in the first half. He does patrol the box very well, very aggressive coming off his line, not bashful whatsoever. He's done that several times in this game.
It's one thing to come off your line. It's another thing to be smart in the process of doing it, and I feel like he's been cold and calculated with the way he's come off the line and in the right situations. 10-plus minutes away from a clean sheet here tonight, and one that I'm sure he wants real bad against this American side. And that's been the issue right there. Winning those one-on-one matchups as they dump it over the 50 inside of 10.
Flint City Bucks, even though they only have a small handful of players back from the 2024 season, they were in a similar position a year ago in the USL League Two playoffs in that Central Conference Finals. They were over at Shea Stadium on the campus of Bradley University in Western Illinois. They lost that game to Peoria City 1-0, even though they dominated most of that game. The few players that are back, remember that. Sometimes it just takes that one great chance late to equalize. We'll see if they can find a way to do that here tonight.
How many corners is that for Flint FC tonight? Got 7 of them on there, 5 of them. So another one coming up here. Another substitution for Atlas into the game. Is Flint FC will look to strike. Never too late. They whip this one into the middle of the box. Nothing but white jerseys there on the receiving end. Does that set something up in transition for Atlas? Smart defense there by Dennis. Halts the progress of this team momentarily, but again, if we saw them batten down the hatches defensively, now a leak in that defense. Flint City finding some area and then shut down well atop the 18. Atlas continues to bend but not break. A deep ball that nearly caught them off their mark, and then a foul down in front of the Flint City bench.
A little bit more extracurricular activities, more of the vocal type. The Flint City Bucks, they have been very frustrated in this game. They are not having their way, even though they have dominated possession, dominated all of this statistical categories in terms of offense. They still trail 1-0. You still need to plug away. You got about 7 minutes plus stoppage time left. There should be a good 3 to 5 minutes of stoppage time added on the clock. Still plenty of time to get that game-tying goal here late in the second half.
And just doing all those little things to take the time away from Flint. Here's another deep ball into the box, headed and high. Right into the mixing bowl, as Dan Stickrat calls it. But this time, it doesn't end up getting mixed well enough. Just high on the header. And Atlas will live to see it still be a 1-0 game, as Hernandez will probably no doubt play this one short again, the way he has all game leading up to this point.
13-2 in total shots in favor of Flint City. They've only been able to put 4 shots on Hernandez, who's made 4 stops. So not a great ratio. You have 13 shot attempts and only 4 on target. You're now in the 84th minute, getting ready to cross in the 85th. You need to start putting some shots on goal.
Battling through the teeth of the defense. That ball popped up into the box. There's Hernandez again. In the back line of defenders right now for Atlas, it's almost kind of like when you're battling for a rebound at the rim, the way they're boxing out. There's just no one that is getting through those lines on those attempts. There's, you see them continue to put pressure on Hernandez, almost kind of forcing him to play these deep balls. Just getting possession back and doing everything they can to turn it on in these final moments. Hard challenge right out in front of us. Nothing called for it, though. It was Woody Pondeka. Put the body on the Atlas player. Flint City chipping one into the 18. Do they have an opening for a drive? They do. Hernandez might have got a hand on it. It goes off the post. And Hernandez made the save. A beautiful stop.
Perfect pass over to Wes Carnival. He turns and fires it towards that right corner, and Hernandez full extension to knock the ball over the end line, keep the ball out of the back of the net. This will be the sixth corner kick coming up for the Flint City Bucks. We are down to just over 4 minutes plus stoppage time. Not a lot of time, but still, Flint City Bucks, they have been attacking away since the opening kickoff.
Carnival nearly angled that one in. And they'll angle another corner, this time to the far post. It's Dennis there, heads it. Back into the mix, no luck. Second attempt, Hernandez jumps on top of it. And he's been taking his bruises and his bumps here tonight, but the good news is it's still 1-0. Here's another peek. 3 different hacks at that one. Bart Munns was waiting just in the event of a potential rebound, but didn't quite get it. Still 1-0. We're just outside of 3 until we hit 90, but Dan, certainly, as you mentioned a little bit earlier, probably a lot of added time here tonight. With all the other antics, another turnover. Flint lobs one, opposite end. It's Dennis there to track it down along the back line, and it's just beyond the reach of his foot. And out of bounds, a goal kick on the way.
This reminds me of a game last May. Flint City Bucks hosted the Kids Game Day. It was against UNSC Macomb. The Bucks had close to 20 total shots. They out-cornered Macomb 16-2. Finally got a goal in, I believe, the 86th minute to win that game 1-0. Similar to the fact that they have been pressuring Atlas this whole game. They have had a ton of chances, a ton of corners and set pieces in the final third of the field. They just can't seem to find a way to get a great scoring opportunity. We'll see if they can finally break down that defense here in the last few minutes.
Hernandez has been playing on his head. Flint City has been at him all night tonight. But the defense, again, bending but not breaking. What does Flint have up their sleeves to maybe try and get one into the back of the net and at least draw even as we barrel closer to 90 minutes here in this friendly? And now a critical turnover. Will Atlas play the possession game here, or will they try to salt it away with maybe one more? Here's a ball through. A 2-on-1 for Flint City. Cole Arnston continues to try and fight his way through the teeth of that defense. One of the strikers in this one. Now look, another impressive pass up ahead, and Flint City able to respond, though, as they dump it off to Jamie Berry, who puts a big boot into it. Here in the 89th minute. Oh, And then a tie up there. And looked like a wrestling move there for a second. Tried to jump over top of the player. And I believe that was Carnival, the one who nearly scored the goal earlier, who got taken out in the process of that. Going to put the ball down for the set piece as Carnival gets back to his feet here, and it's Dennis to line up the set piece. Lobs it in, header there, and a chance to score. Turnaround shot wide of the post. They set him up perfectly off the header. And then that one just punched wide. Rainbolt, the kid out of New Zealand, saw an opportunity to level it at one. Instead, he misses his chance.
Just officially crossed in the stoppage time, so just a few minutes of extra time here for Flint City Bucks. They have been buzzing that net wave after wave for 90 minutes, unable to put one in the back of the net. Soccer is a game of inches. You've heard coaches of all levels of soccer have said that a million times.
Can Atlas find the dagger on this possession? Or will they handle it into the corner? They have no interest in doing that. 6 minutes of added time. That is quite an amount of time for something to happen. Here's a ball into the middle of the mix. Able to work it free are the Bucks. Kadima guard trying to win the race up the sidelines. He will not. And tries to intervene as this one's chipped up and out of bounds. See the turnout just across the way for this game here tonight at Flint City. A lot of passionate fans in attendance. And the kids who traveled over 2,200 miles to get here, looking to escape, maybe with this 1-0 lead. And what do we have here? We have a card just shy of the 18. Oh my, and that could totally change things here in the final moments of this one.
Flint City Bucks player tried to make a run on the ball. His jersey, his arm was grabbed. Referee was quite a distance away, but he ran over, had the yellow card already out of his pocket. Look right here.
Yeah.
Ton of contact. His arm was held onto. He could not.
It seemed completely unnecessary, too. That ball was well on its way to Hernandez. All you had to do was just get in front of him. That's all you had to do. But yet he hooks him up.
Now you got
and I believe that was Dylan, the aforementioned Dylan, who was the one who tied him up on his way there. Bart Munns couldn't find his way through. And now look at Flint City, just north of the 18.
It's about 19 and a half yards out. This is an opportunity where you try to rip one towards one of the corners. Still some shoving going on behind the referee's back.
It's Zakemski. Check that. It will not be him. Instead, it will be Arnson. Or Carnival. Check that. Carnival to take it. Could change everything. With the left. Hits the front wall, but gets it right back. Trying to work his way free for another shot that's also turned away. Out of bounds and a throw-in coming up for Dennis. Headed in towards the 18. Bodies there. A wrestling move in the box. Play is not stopped, though. Atlas able to clear it out and a throw-in upcoming. A soccer match or a WWE match? We'll let you decide. Look at the tie up there. Man, you do what you have to do to battle it free. And a deep throw-in coming up here. Flint City, what do you got? Hernandez jumps and saves.
7th official save for Hernandez, but him and that stellar back line, they have withstood consistent pressure for 94 minutes.
What did they call that Steelers defense once upon a time?
The old terrible towel? Or
the terrible towel era? There's something about... That's what they've looked like here tonight. Hernandez steps out, gets that one off the chest and sends it away. They still have 2 minutes to hold on, though. Feels like Flint City has been on the power play all night here tonight, but somehow Atlas has been able to withstand all of it. There's a foul along the far sidelines and a set piece upcoming here for Atlas. Another yellow is presented now for Flint City. Little jersey tug that time stops the player's progress. And Atlas with the final moments of this one potentially wearing away.
They're trying
will
to
stall for as much time as humanly possible. Ball played to the wide side. Headed away initially, but then sent into the stands. Results in a goal kick here for Flint City. Maybe a chance to string together one last offensive push. So they'll actually force it to go right back to the goalkeeper and Jamie Berry. Will put everything he has into this boot. Chipped up out of bounds here. They will rush to throw it in again. Ball making good progress. Wide of the 18. Now bicycled back towards the top of the 18. Interesting choice there, but Atlas still comes away with it. Dan Stickrat, they traveled over 2,250 miles to come to Kettering University for this international friendly. They came with the goal and the intent of not only representing their club, but representing their country against this Flint City team and making the people back home proud.
Flint City Bucks has thrown everything, including the kitchen sink of Atlas FC's back line. There's another yellow card against Atlas, so the yellow cards have been being thrown in every direction in this game. Flint City Bucks just could not solve the Rubik's Cube in this game. They have dominated this entire match. Down on the waning seconds, this should be the last attack the Bucks will be able to build. So we're now 7 minutes in the stoppage time. So we were told 6 minutes. We've already played 7. There's been a couple delays in stoppage time.
The final moments in this one bleeding away. The kids from Guadalajara got one on their first one. And it looks like that's all they'll need. Turnover here to Flint City. Hanging by every second. Is this the money ball? Headed away after the deep cross. This midfield trying to take it back from Flint. Oh, tremendous slide tackle. Doesn't get much better than that. But Flint City, maybe one last breath as this one rolls out along the back line.
Now 8 minutes in the stoppage time.
They got one in the first half on their first, and that's all they'll need. 1-0 the winner is Atlas, after traveling across the United States in over 2,250 miles. Get the job done here against the Flint City Bucks.
You talk about being opportunistic. Atlas FC, 2 total shots, 1 on frame, an unassisted goal back in the 16th minute by Eric Villegas. That is all they need. The Bucks came at them in wave after wave after wave for 98 minutes, unable to equalize this game. And Atlas FC will walk away with a 1-0 victory here at Atwood Stadium.
So 1-0 the finish. Here's a look at our final stats in this one, and some more extracurricular activities after the conclusion of this game. 17 shots, 2 on the other side for Atlas FC. But Dan, as we always talk about, Most important stat is who has more at the end of the day, and this Atlas FC team, again, coming all the way from Guadalajara, proved here tonight that they're the better club, regardless of what those numbers bear out. And there's a look at our only one here tonight, Villegas, with the 1:15 minutes in, and that stands tall. 1-0 the winner. Atlas FC U23 gets it done against the American side. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us here tonight on WNEM. My name is Nate Wangler. His name is Dan Stickrat. And until we talk to you guys next time, one last time, our final score. Kids from Guadalajara, Mexico, get it done. 1-0. Atlas FC U23 takes down the Flint City Bucks right here on WNEM.
Boost your brand with NSN's live soccer broadcast, reaching a passionate audience in real time. Engage fans during thrilling soccer matches. Maximize visibility with tailored ad packages. Add 30-second or 60-second commercials for concise, impactful messaging and greater audience connection. Call 586-304-4405 and start your campaign today.